What's up, Pack? My name is Wolv21. Welcome back to Wolvs Words. This is going to be a twofer. This is the first video that we're going to be releasing for today. And this topic is about death or breakups. It's kind of the same concept, except death, you really don't get to see them ever again. Breakups is kind of the same way, depending on how that breakup went, if it was a mutual breakup or not. But definitely one of the hardest things that I've seen people cope with over the years is people that have left because of whatever circumstances that is, natural causes, accident, something of that sort. It doesn't really matter. It all comes down to that the person has left you and you're dealt with coping with that loss. The biggest word of advice that I can possibly give for that is to distract yourself as much as possible, whatever way that you can cope with it, whatever way that you need to find to do that, do it as quickly as you can, because I've seen people that have tried to cope with loss for a very, very, very long time, and honestly it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't change the fact of that then they're never going to come back. This might be a very touchy subject for a lot of people, and as soon as after I say that, it doesn't change the fact that you need to continue with your life. Your life does not change from the day it happens to the day after and the day after that unless you decide to do so. It really goes with anything in life. I guess that's a kind of a recurring theme with a lot of these Wolvs Words, is that you got to put forth what you think is best for yourself. And especially if someone has passed away that's very close to you and you're still grieving, eventually you're going to have to get over it. I mean, of course it's sad and you're going to be dealing with the rest of your life, but it's up to you depending on how much it'll affect you and how much it'll empower you. Now, you're going to be like, well, why is it going to empower me? Because depending on what the cause of death was, you can do charity events, research, inspire other people to cope with their losses depending on however that circumstance happens. Nothing changes the fact of what happens. I said, you decide of how happy you are, and because that person is not there anymore does not change that fact. I mean, yes, obviously if they're close to you and tomorrow they were still alive and they're next to you, yeah, it would be fantastic. But if they are gone and they're not coming back, that doesn't change anything. The fact of the matter is that they are gone, and that's the most devastating part about the reality of it, and coming to terms with it is, it's like you want to hold on and latch on to something for the rest of your life, and you have to learn to let go. Same thing like breakups. Breakups goes in the same respect, is that like, oh, I'm in love with this person and everything's a hunky-dory, everything crumbles and you break up and then you're devastated. It's the same concept. The biggest thing is to obviously let it go. If it was meant to last and both of you were to connect the way that you were supposed to connect, then obviously you either A, talk it out, or B, it would last a hell of a lot longer than it did. So if you did go through a recent breakup, I say congratulations, because you probably weren't meant to be with them anyway. Another blunt, I guess, word of advice for that is, if you do go through a breakup, yes, it sucks at first, but you will get over it. There's plenty of fish out there. Keep yourself occupied, distracted, hang out with friends, go out and do stuff, don't mope around. I've done that plenty of times. It's not worth it. It's the one thing you learn through the years, is that you deal with all those situations, and the biggest thing is to go out and distract yourself, and eventually you get over it. It just takes time. That's the hardest part. And the same thing with death too. It's time. I've had my grandmother died, and it was probably one of the hardest situations that I've had to go through, because he basically was on like life support. And when we went to the hospital, it was like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to get into Pennsylvania, where we had to go to the hospital. And my family is very strong in multiple aspects, and I love them to death. And I would never change them for the entire world, and I'd hope for everybody for the same. If you don't, then hopefully you have someone to go to talk to, or to confide in. If you do need to talk to somebody, the biggest thing is to talk to somebody. I basically stood by her bedside and held her hand for a majority of the time, and it was definitely one of the hardest situations that I've ever had to be in, because I wasn't just being strong for myself, I was being strong for my family, and especially my mom, who was standing across the other side of the bed. And you can tell in her eyes when she ever looked at me is that she just wanted to go. You can tell that she was in pain, and there was nothing that could have been done. And to be in that situation, I personally could never imagine being in that situation, to basically grasp for your life and there is nothing to hold on to. That's a bigger reality than anything else, than saying that it was almost better that she was gone at that point because she wasn't suffering anymore. And that situation was a huge eye-opener as far as a new level of strong, especially for myself, in dealing with death, than I could have ever imagined. Because previously when my grandpa and great grandmother died, I was way young. I didn't really know any better. I remember going to their house and hanging out and having a good time. They give us snacks, you know, the little like a bowl of pretzels, the traditional like bowl of pretzels, and like chips and stuff like that, like the really old couch, the plaid couch and everything covered in plastic, things of that sort. So you remember all the good stuff, but nothing changes the fact that they're gone. So the biggest thing is to move on and enjoy all the memories that you did have, but don't let that stop you from moving on in the future, because you're just limiting yourself. I'm pretty sure that they would want the same thing for yourself also, to not be like, they're probably like yelling as a ghost above you going like, just move on and be happy and enjoy and continue to strive and grow and everything of the sort. So be strong. It's I think another big word of advice for this one is be as strong as you possibly can. If you need somebody to talk to somebody, because eventually you'll be strong and then you break down and then you bring yourself back up again. I think that's it for the breakup / death, kind of the same, almost kind of the same line. Thank you very much for listening. Again, these are my opinions. You can take them to heart or not. It's up to you, but definitely empower yourself. Again, never want anyone to harm themselves or anybody else. Always keep that in mind as a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. And I'll see you next time. Thank you guys for watching Wolvs Words. Make sure you do leave a comment down below if you did like the video, and you leave a thumbs up if you did like it, or share it out with your friends and somebody that you might think that this might help. We do talk on very touchy subjects depending on what the topics that are suggested. Again, leave those comments down below if you do want a future topic to be talked about. We talked about a bunch of this stuff on a live stream, one of my previous live streams. Again, like link down in the description below, that stuff. But thank you for listening to my words. Again, let them either be heartful to you, or if they're not up your alley, just, I don't know, ignore them and pass them on to a friend that you might think they might be helpful to. I'll see you later.